Welcome to the GTM Reset podcast. This is the audio edition of the salesXchange live show for CEOs and revenue leaders who already suspect that the standard business-to-business growth model is no longer fit for purpose. If your MarTech stack keeps growing, activity stays high, but revenue is still slow, costly, or unpredictable, this series is for you. Each episode explores what comes after traditional go-to-market thinking and what it means to replace fragmented activity with a new business operating system. This episode was originally broadcast as a live stream, so if Nigel refers to diagrams, frameworks, or on-screen illustrations, you can watch the full version using the link in the description. So let's get started.
Welcome back to the GTM live show. I'm Nigel Main. I'm the founder of salesXchange. And if you're watching this for the first time, welcome. If you've been following us for a while, you'll know that every week we come here and we talk about the one thing most B2B businesses are getting completely wrong when it comes to how they generate new business. Today, I suppose I'd like to think they're always different, but what I want to talk about, two things today. They're kind of the same thing, but they're not. But the first is about communicating about what we're doing right now, which is going live. So if it wasn't going live, that pause would have been taken out. He would have said, cut, do it again. But it's not, it's live. And why going live is the single most powerful commercial activity a B2B business can be doing in 2026 and beyond. And the second is something that happened this week that I think deserves to be talked about on camera because it demonstrates something genuinely significant about where this technology is going and what it means for businesses like ours. But I want to start with the problem, because with that problem, nothing else makes sense. And the problem's not a small one. And we call it the hidden cost of fragmented go-to-market systems. And by the end of the show, you're going to see exactly what that means, not as a slogan or anything like that, but as an operational reality. And more importantly, you're going to see what the alternative looks like in practice with real data running right now. So let's kind of get into it, as they say. You know, we'll start now. So let me kind of start with a headline cost problem. Because when I talk about fragmented go-to-market systems, I'm not talking about an inconvenience. I'm talking about the structural financial drain that most businesses have normalized to the point where they don't even see it anymore. Think about a physical B2B business doing between, 2, 5, 50 million in revenue. What does that commercial infrastructure actually look like? So if you think about it, they've got a CRM, probably, Salesforce, HubSpot, Pardot, Marketo, whatever. Anywhere from 900 grand to multiple thousands per month, depending on the tier you got and the user count. And on top of that, you've got your marketing automation platform, which I can kind of mention because we're looking at CRM and then you're looking at marketing automation. And that's separate, a few grand, depending on how many contacts you got in there. The social scheduling tool. The LinkedIn advertising account with a monthly spend, Sales Navigator, content management system, SEO platform, webinar tools for occasional events, video hosting platform, data analytics platform that nobody really knows how to use probably. And somewhere in there, there's going to be a team of people, SDRs, BDRs, marketing execs, campaign managers, whose entire job it is to operate all these tools, push content to them, and pull reports out of them, and try to make them talk to each other. I'm not going to do lots of slides because it's a really important thing to communicate. We can have lots of slides and diagrams and so on, but the real point is that there's a big problem. And the big problem is that businesses are simply accepting this as the norm. And it's kind of like the main thing is that they're never really, all these systems, and it's become the MarTech stack, all these systems don't really talk to each other. They're supposed to, but they never really talk to each other. You can have a CRM that doesn't really know, it doesn't know what's going on LinkedIn, although some of them can import data from LinkedIn. A LinkedIn account that doesn't know what email's doing or what email sent. You've got video views on YouTube maybe that nobody's connected, whether any of those are people that have downloaded anything or what traffic's happening from that. And if anything's ever become a lead, I mean, the data's everywhere and the insight's nowhere. And we're not talking about IP tracking or lead scoring or anything like that. We're talking about anonymous engagement, because that's where everything starts. It starts as anonymous. And so if you add the headcount cost, decent SDR or BDR is going to cost you 50, 60K. Marketing manager, same bit more. Campaign exec, content writer, social media. Before you pay for a single tool, you could hundreds of thousands of pounds a year just in people trying to make sense of systems that were never actually designed to work together, not in B2B. And what do you get after all that? You get a pipeline, maybe not. If you're lucky, you get some outbound email sequences that potentially get ignored, cold emails that go to voicemail, LinkedIn connection requests that never get accepted, and paid ads that get people just scroll through. And you never seem to be able to reach the people that you want to reach. And then you pay again the next time you reach them, because you've got no persistent presence. You've got nothing that compounds over time. And here's what kind of makes this particularly insidious. I mean, every tool in that stack is justifiable in isolation. The CRM makes sense. Email makes sense. Scheduling tool makes sense. Nobody questions any of them. You just keep adding to it. And the cumulative cost, the tools plus the teams plus the agency plus relationships, the ad spend, and all the management overhead of making it all function rarely comes to less than, $500,000 a year for a business of any size. And for a lot of businesses, it's potentially even more. And the bottom line is the ROI is almost universally terrible. I mean, it's really bad. Not because people running it aren't capable, but because the model itself is broken. You can't fix a broken model by adding better tools to it. You can only fix it by replacing the model. So it's not a technology problem. It's a structural problem. And the reason it's persisted for so long is that everybody in B2B, the B2B world, has been sold the same solution. You've got the same tools. More tools, more headcount, more spend. And every time, the results disappoint. And the answer is, add another tool, hire another person, try and do another campaign. But the hidden cost, it's not just the money. It's the opportunity cost of continuing to invest in a model that's fundamentally misaligned with how serious buyers actually buy and behave. And that's what I want to come on to. So the reality of, you could call it modern. It sounds a bit twee calling something modern, but the reality of modern B2B buying behaviour, and this isn't an opinion. I mean, it's backed by Gartner and so on. It's backed by basically everything we see in our own data. Serious B2B buyers, the CEOs, MDs, and COOs, who are actually going to sign the check, they don't behave like consumers. They don't respond to interruption. They don't pick up cold calls. Don't click on banner ads. They never have. What they do is research anonymously on their own timeline. They read, watch, listen, and they make decisions long before they ever make contact with you. And by the time a serious buyer reaches out to a vendor, research consistently suggests they're already 60, 70, I have a slide here, 86% of the way through the decision-making process. So you look at this, for example. I've pulled this up a number of times before. I'll just show you on a big screen and I'll just carry on talking. You look at that. What we've got here is you've got a 5-year period 50, nearly 60 months. If you've got a lead time, a sales cycle of 9 months, say, if the lead time is 86, if that lead time, that sales cycle is 9 months, that means it's 9%. Is it 9? No, 9 months. It's 86% is done silently. So if 86% is done silently, the balance, and your time is 9 months, it's like 5 years. And then if you look at the mission, strategy, tactics and ops, you can see 10, 5, 3, 1 years. All normal standard stuff. So the bottom line is that they're kind of working their way through their decision-making process. So if your go-to-market model depends on interrupting people before they're ready, cold calls, outbound email sequences, all the paid ads, you're fishing in the wrong pond with the wrong bait at the wrong time. You're spending money to reach people who've already made a decision to ignore you. So the question becomes then, how do you get in front of them? You've got to get in front of them, because the only currency that works is an appointment, whether it's like this or whether it's genuinely face-to-face. And if they research anonymously, if they resist interruption, if they make the most of their decisions before they even, you could say that it's a common thing in teams, raise their hand. How do you influence that process? If at all, it's nigh impossible. But the answer is actually simpler than you think. Stop chasing them. And just start being visible to them. And that is why going live changes everything. If you think about what a live broadcast actually is, you're just showing up every week. Same time, same channel where your total addressable market already spends time is LinkedIn, YouTube. Not really so much Facebook or Instagram, but LinkedIn and YouTube, yes. And you are delivering valuable, substantive content that helps them think differently about the problem that they have. Because you know what problems they have, because that's why you're in business. To provide a solution to their problem. You're not asking them for anything. You're not pitching. You're certainly not interrupting. You're just present. You're just there, consistently, reliably, week after week. And here's what happens when you do that. Something that behavioural psychology calls the mere exposure effect, by a chap called Robert Zajonc. The more often someone is exposed to something, a face, a voice, a name, an idea, or whatever, the more familiar it becomes. And that familiarity builds trust. And trust precedes every single B2B purchase decision. So this is not some kind of soft, woolly brand awareness argument. This is a hard commercial mechanism. Every time a CEO in your total addressable market scrolls past your live show on LinkedIn, watches a couple of minutes, like a 2-minute clip, sees your thumbnail on YouTube, that's a deposit in a trust account that you're building with them. You might never know their name, not for days, weeks, months, years. But they never comment. They don't like or share. But they're watching. Yeah? They're forming an opinion. And when the time comes and they've got that problem that you can solve, you are the name that comes to mind. Put quite simply, we just call this prospecting at scale. And it's something that B2B sales have never achieved, have never been able to do until now. So like the traditional prospecting is one-to-one. You call one person, have a conversation. At scale, if you've got a big enough SDR team, you'll reach more people. You might be able to phone hundreds, but we know it's a 300 to 1 shot of finding someone that might be interested. So a weekly live show distributed across LinkedIn and YouTube, that reaches your entire addressable market simultaneously every single week without a single outbound call. And here's the thing that makes this different from just doing a webinar or posting a video. It's the consistency of it. The fact that it's live. The fact that it's every week. And that is what builds the reputation. A reputation builds trust at scale. It's just not complicated. So if you kind of talk about being specific about what salesXchange Live actually is, because like I said, it's not a webinar, it's not a podcast, it's not just, I mean, this is a bit of a talking head video, but it's still a broadcast. And the distinction matters. Because a webinar is a one-off event. Podcast is a studio first and passive, and video is pre-recorded and edited, but broadcast is live. I mean, live. And if and it happens whether you have 3 viewers or 3,000. So the live format is built around this weekly show. It's the same day, same time, same week, every week, basically. And it's that regularity is not just a nice to have, it's actually the mechanism. And it trains your audience and it trains the algorithm to expect you. LinkedIn and YouTube both reward consistent, regular publishing. The more reliably you show up, the more reach you get. The more reach you get, the larger your audience becomes. The larger the audience, the more trust you build across your total addressable market. And the thing is, the shows always have a clear structure. You know, I mean, if you've been watching this for any amount of time, kind of open with a direct, punchy statement about what the show's about, and you develop the argument. But I mean, you really develop it. You don't just like skim the surface. You know, you challenge conventional thinking, or you share real data or observations, commercial insight, and you close with a specific call to action. So behind the show, there's this infrastructure, a broadcast studio. It doesn't have to be expensive. You have what we call an A10 Mini, for example. I'll show you. This, you see that? I'll move that a bit closer. These buttons, where are we? Here. These buttons here, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are camera switching buttons. So you go press 1, press 2. Okay, like that. But also, when you get it set up, camera 2, camera 1. All pretty cool, I think. Is all pretty cool. And then you have these things that enable you to do this, and present your slides, and so on. And so you have your PowerPoint hooked up as well. So if we get back to camera 1, so we don't go off piece and start talking about the slides. And you have platforms like Restream. Restream enable you to distribute simultaneously. So with this, you're watching this on either YouTube or LinkedIn. YouTube enable us to post this live on our website as well. You can also post this out on your company profile on Instagram and Facebook. So you can distribute, and I think I don't use Twitter very much, but X. So you can distribute your content to your total addressable market through those channels at the same time. And then basically you have a prompt to set up, and decent camera and lights and mics and so on. And the discipline basically to show up every week and deliver something worth watching. But here's the great thing. So the clips of the show then become the social content library. So each show generates multiple short clips, 60, 90 seconds, give or take, which go out across YouTube and LinkedIn every day. So those clips carry the reach that drives the downloads, which drives the email engagement, which drives the inbound conversations. And the live show is the top of the funnel. And everything flows. I don't like the word funnel, but it has to be used so you can see how it flows down to people getting to know, like, and trust you, because that's what this is all about. It's all about know, like, and trust. And that's what I mean when I say SX Live is not a standalone tool. It's a component of a complete commercial infrastructure. So it connects to the content layer, the social layer, the email layer, the telemetry layer. Every impression, every view, every download, every email open, all of it's tracked, measured and reported. So you know with absolute precision what's working and what's not. It's really serious. It's about to get really quite spectacular. So I want to show you what this looks like in practice, because I wouldn't expect anyone to take anything on faith. So I'm talking about our own data. So the past 90 days, we started this different way of orchestrating ourselves. So 90 days. So we started this kind of active market exposure through this show and the kind of the associated social infrastructure. So we've generated 1,668 PDF downloads with zero paid advertising. Absolute zero. Every single one of those downloads came from our organic reach. The live show clips on LinkedIn, YouTube content, and our modest email list. Our email open rate is 35%. The B2B benchmark's 22%. So we're running 1.5 times the industry average. Our click-to-open rate's 48%. Benchmark's 12%. It's 4 times the benchmark. Our LinkedIn engagement rate is 7.8%. The benchmark for a personal profile is around 3%, so we're more than double. 50% of all PDFs came directly from LinkedIn organic. Not paid, not Google, not referral, not LinkedIn organic. LinkedIn organic reach from clips generated from this show that I do. So we do this live, and then I convert that into to a video, because it works differently, because then I post the video on our website. And then from that, we chop that up. That takes, if it's an hour show, I get about 5 10-minute clips, give or take. And then from that, we generate shorts as well. So the Nigel Main LinkedIn profile generates 17 times more posts, more impressions per post than a salesXchange company page. And before you assume that means posting more often on a personal profile is the answer, it's not. So our data shows our best performing week and worst performing week had almost an identical number of posts. So what drove the difference? So it wasn't volume. It was format and quality. One strong post with a clear argument and a properly designed graphic outperforms 30 recycled hashtag heavy posts by a factor that's almost embarrassing. So I can show you all of this. I can show which clips drove the downloads, which emails drove the conversations, which show topics produced the most engagement in which channel. And I can show you that because it's all in one place. It's all in BigQuery in real time. So I'm not saying anything to boast. I'm just telling you because these are the numbers that prove the model works. The model's not complicated. A weekly live show, consistent social distribution of the clips, a tracked download offer and an email list, and that's the complete loop. So the live show is where the authority is built. The clips are how the authority travels, and the download is where the authority converts a kind of qualified expression of interest. And then depending on how we connect, if they do connect via email, then that's how interest is nurtured over time. But we do make a not even an effort. We do not cold call. There's no fill out this form. There's no form on any of our pages anywhere. So no cold calls, no outbound sequences in that respect. No paid ads, just no agency even. Just consistent broadcast-driven presence across the channels where your total addressable market already lives, it already exists there. Yeah. So, big point about today is what have you thought so far? And you might think, well, it's all right. It's a guy talking about different ways of generating new business. Yep, that's right. But there's something about today's show, about this script, about what I'm saying specifically. Now, I use a teleprompter. So most people that present do, because you think you can wing it, but you can't. So it's not because I don't know what I'm talking about. Far from it. I've been writing about this for years. Because live delivery at this level, it needs an element and a level of precision. The argument's got to land, it's got to be in the right order, the transition's got to work, and the timing's got to be right, and so on. And when you're also managing a broadcast, and you're monitoring the stream and handling the studio, and having the script locked and loaded means the thinking is basically done before I go live. The presentation is the delivery, not the preparation. So every week, typically, I prepare a script, but this week I didn't. Claude did. So not in the sense of I typed some kind of vague prompt, pressed enter and hoped for the best. The process was way more specific than that. I asked Claude to write a show script about going live and what salesXchange Live is and why it matters commercially, and how the infrastructure works. And what it produced is the script you've been watching me deliver for the past 25 minutes or so. And in my assessment, genuinely excellent. Not me. I'm just saying that the words and how it flows. The argument's structured correctly. The data's accurate. Transitions work. The tone of voice is right. And when I read it for the first time, it took me 14 minutes with different sides and pauses and so on. And it becomes basically a full show. But there was a bit of a problem. Wasn't long enough. Didn't cover everything. But here's the question you should be asking. How does an AI produce a script like that, in the right voice, right argument, right data, when I gave it nothing more than a topic? That answer is what I want to spend the rest of this show talking about, because it is, in my view, one of the most commercially significant things to happen in B2B right now, and it connects right back to this whole thing to do with fragmented B2B, go-to-market platforms and so on, and the problem we started with. So, if I was to tell you that this is based upon 1.53 million words, it wouldn't mean anything. But they're 1.53 million words I've written. Everything I've ever written publicly, every article on salesXchange, every methodology, every strategy, every document, every PDF. And now the complete transcript of every lesson that we've got in our training program is all indexed and in BigQuery right now. So 1,530,000 words, 1.53 million words of methodology, argument, data and commercial thinking, indexed, searchable and queryable. So put this into context. Our website, it's got 463 pages. The articles there have been written over 7 years. Commentary on B2B marketing orthodoxy going back to 2018. Solutions thinking from 2021 and 2022. And then the full infrastructure argument for the salesXchange operating system from 2024 onwards. And that's nearly 1.2 million words. The training program, 20 modules, 172 lessons, 30 hours of structured teaching, another 250,000 words, every lesson, every explanation, every worked example, all transcribed and indexed. The downloads, PDF downloads. I mean, if I remember, we've got 65, 45 and 25,000 words on those 3 downloads. and a business handbook. Now, you might not know about business handbook, but this is the business handbook. You can buy this on Amazon. This has 263 pages, 60,000 words in that. What I've written over the past 7 years or so is the equivalent of 25 of these. It's written a bit like a dummies book. So if you know about dummies books, you have I'll show you this, a fairly straightforward contents page, and then a more detailed table of contents that runs into, I think there's seven sections, part 5, parts up to 7 sections. So there's 25 of these. So total is 1.53 million words, all in BigQuery, all queryable. So when I asked Claude to write a script about salesXchange Live, it wasn't working from a general understanding of the topic. It was working from the complete structured articulation of the methodology as I've developed and refined over the past 7 years. It has access to the module on live streaming, the module on the system, the module on presenting to camera, full library of articles where I've developed the argument in public, and the PDFs that codify that commercial case for a CEO audience. So that's not a language. It's not a language model making an educated guess about what I might want to say. That's a language model drawing directly on my own IP corpus, my own voice, producing that output in structured, in argument, in commercial clarity, indistinguishable from something I would have written myself. And that's the distinction. Yeah, that distinction is everything. Because what I've described is not a general purpose AI tool. It's an AI system operating on proprietary, indexed, queryable, intellectual property. And that is a completely different category of capability. You've got to get this. So if I connect this back to the original question. But before I do that, I want to show you something. Let me just go to here. Oops. Come out of there. We'll click. I want to show you this. This is on our website under the GTMOS, SXOS tab across the top. I'll just show you there. As you can see at the top, it says SXOS. Now, what we have here is a mind map. And I'm going to come onto this. So I'll come back to this in a second. Let me just continue with this. So, one of the most expensive things a B2B does, without ever realizing it, is recreate content. Every time a new person joins the team, you spend weeks bringing them up to speed. Every time an agency takes a brief, you have to explain the positioning, the argument, the voice, the commercial logic. They still don't quite get it. Every time a campaign needs copy, someone has to go back to the source material. They don't fully get it. And produce something that is probably at best a pale reflection of what you as the founder actually thinks. So think about what that does. It's just the whole cost thing, not just in time, but in dilution. Every step between the original thinking and the published output is a step where something's lost, a nuance, a framing, a bit of commercial insight that only makes sense if you understand the full argument. And the output that reaches your buyer is a weakened version of what you actually know and believe. And this is why most B2B content is generic. Not because people producing aren't capable, but it's because they don't have the corpus, they don't have the whole body of content. And in our case, they haven't got 7 years of structured thinking. They've got brand guidelines, brand guideline document, a brief, and 45 minutes to produce something. When your IP is indexed, that problem disappears. The AI isn't guessing your voice, it's drawing directly from it. Every article you've written, every argument you've made, every way you've framed a problem for a CEO audience. And all of it is available contextually in every output. That means a live show script is produced in minutes and reads as if I spent 2 days doing it. And that means LinkedIn post that lands the argument directly or correctly because it's built on the actual argument, not a summary of it. And if you're dealing with investors, it means an investor email feels commercially precise because it draws on the same reasoning, the same data, the same commercial logic that the investor has already been seeing in their inbox, depending on whoever you're speaking to. So this is what we mean by the salesXchange operating system. It's not a collection of tools. It's a connected infrastructure where every component feeds every other component. The live show generates the content becomes clips, the clips drive downloads. Download can feed the email list. The email lists tracks engagement. All that engagement sits in BigQuery alongside YouTube data and LinkedIn data and Google Analytics data. The AI content layer draws on the indexed IP corpus to generate the next piece of content, whether that's a script, an article, post, email, doesn't matter. Full context, full commercial precision. Nothing's disconnected. Nothing's siloed. Everything is queryable. You've got to think about this. You have to think about this. Let me just show you what it means by in actual practice, because I want to show you this mind map. This is our mind map that I've got here, and I'll enlarge it, and I'll take myself off the screen for a bit. I hope you can see this. And if you've got a bigger screen, it might be worth just enlarging it to a bigger screen. But as you can see at the dead center, we've got BigQuery. And BigQuery gives us, it shows that it's connected to Joomla, which is the site we use, our course, transcripts, raw data for events, Google Analytics events, Google Search Console, LinkedIn data, email open activity, PDF content, and raw prospect data. So it's got everything. So doing the round robin, we've got salesXchange Reach, SX Reach. SX Reach is the engine that drives social posts, email posts, and banner posts. SX Live, again, you can read it along the bottom. You don't need me to read everything out to you, but SX Live is the weekly broadcast, studio infrastructure, clip distribution, podcast distribution, and road shows, which we'll talk about next week. SX Connect, which is a methodology and a structure that enables prospects to complete self-discovery, as you would have a normal discovery meeting. They can do that by themselves, book a meeting, and then the system generates the prep, deck preparation, quotation preparation, cost comparison, and the prospect and company research, all in advance. A salesperson doesn't have to lift a finger except turn up for the meeting. Then you've got SX Ops, which is the telemetry element of this. And that connects everything back into BigQuery to do with LinkedIn Analytics, YouTube metrics, email intelligence, the download audit, based upon IP address, so you know what's a bot, strips that out, and you just get traffic based upon genuine people downloading. A hub enables website rewrites, content evaluation, course and training material, onboarding, FAQs, and so on. And the structure integrates with our website and training and Notion and cPanel and cron jobs, 50 plus Python scripts, and Recur Post. And then we use two platforms. We use Claude and we use OpenAI. So you can see we've covered everything. And this has been designed and built from a sales perspective, not a marketing perspective. And so with that connectivity diagram, the whole process of this is, within BigQuery, I can run a query that shows me the watch time on every YouTube clip across 3 channels, cross-referenced against PDF downloads that originated from those clips. In the same window, I can see which clips drove the most download intent, not views, not just engagement, but conversion from watching to download. And I can compare it against their open rate for subscribers who do download, who also download. You have to think about this. I mean, this is spectacular. I can see that 50% of all downloads came from LinkedIn organic. I can see exactly which posts on which profile drove that share of traffic. I can see the personal profiles, like I said, generate 17 times more reach per post than the company page. And I can see in the data week by week across that whole period. I can see our best performing week, our worst performing week. But the bottom line, it shows that the volume's not variable, the quality and formats of the variables. And I can prove that because I've got the data. Granular, queryable, in one place. I can see that the email open rate trending at 1.6 times the benchmark, and the click to open rate is 4 times the benchmark. Cross-reference that with which content was in circulation that week, which topics were being clipped, what was going out on social, as in the big picture, not fragments of it. But this is a cradle-to-grave view of a commercial system in operation from the moment someone first encounters a clip on LinkedIn through to a download, an email, an inbound conversation, every step, every interaction measured, right the way through to booking a meeting, receiving a quote, and that information appearing on your pipeline. Let me show you another. Let me show you another image here, because this is. I just think this is just the best. This is just the best. Let me just get the. Let me just get this up here. You'll like this. You'll like this. So what I've got on the screen now, this is the that top view there. That is the executive view, and that shows you from meeting to pipeline. Just look at it every day of the week if you wanted to. I probably would. I do. But the whole point about this is your entire business becomes visible. It's not. It isn't done. We have people have dashboards. Yeah, it's not. But this is not a Salesforce dashboard. Because no Salesforce dashboard would give you this. No HubSpot reporting suite gives you this. No combination of 5 tools in your stack gives you this, because those tools don't share the same schema. The data lives in separate systems with separate logins, separate definitions of what a conversion event is. You can't join LinkedIn data to YouTube data to email data and HubSpot data. There's no version of that. There's no version of that kind of fragmented stack that produces that kind of view. But when everything sits in BigQuery, everything shares the same schema. You stop managing tools, you start running a business on data. And the difference in commercial clarity is not incremental, it's categorical. So the thing is, this is quite important. So when you look at all this, I know how spectacular this is. I've been doing this for 40 years. I know that nothing exists out there like this. This is I don't know. So I think it's one of those things. Having looked and identified and understood the problems in the market, it's that kind of question. Don't come to me with your problems. Come to me with your solutions. The solution didn't exist. And it's the solution that every single salesperson in the world wants because it enables them to sell more. I don't care about marketing. Not interested. I'm only interested in connecting with my total addressable market and delivering appointments to salespeople. That's it. Nothing else matters. The only currency is an appointment. No appointment, no revenue. End of story. And so I want to be kind of direct about something. Basically, salesXchange Live and the operating system, more broadly, the whole thing, isn't for everyone. Because if you're a business that depends on like short sales cycles and transactional volume and kind of like consumer style purchasing behavior, this model is not yours. It's not for you. It wouldn't work. But if you're a B2B with a complex sale, if your average value is significant, if your buyers are senior CEOs, MDs, CFOs, COOs, and if the decision-making process takes months, not days, and if the people you need to influence are precisely the people who do not respond to cold outreach, then this is definitely for you. Because these are, and we both know, these are the buyers who do consume content, who do watch broadcasts, who do quietly evaluate vendors over a period of months or even years before they ever make contact. And who, when they do make contact, have pretty much largely made their decision. Because being visible to those people consistently over time, that's the entire commercial game. And salesXchange Live is how you play it. And I think, there's a couple of things. The thing I want to address is the objection I hear most, and that's, I'm not a broadcaster. I'm not comfortable on camera. I don't know what I talk about. Unlike my good self. But here's the future. Here's the truth. Future. It is the future. Here's the truth. Nobody's comfortable on camera at first. But that's not a reason to not do it. It's a reason to do it repeatedly until you are comfortable. And the most effective presenters I've ever seen are not people that were born comfortable in front of a lens. They're the people that showed up repeatedly until the discomfort became familiarity and familiarity became confidence. And the second objection is the infrastructure one. We haven't got a studio. I haven't got a broadcast set up. I haven't got the technical knowledge to run a live show. Think about this. I invested in broadcast equipment back in 2018, properly. I mean, proper investment, tens of thousands. I did that at the time because I believed in what the camera could do for a B2B audience. And even then it was fundamentally underestimated. And then in lockdown came, and the A10 Mini arrived. The A10 Mini is a piece of kit that enables you to switch between different cameras, like that. See that? That's all it is. HDMI in the back, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons there, and you can just manually switch between camera 1, camera 2. Really simple, and you can then progress to stream decks that enable you to do camera 1, camera 2. Stop and start your prompter, change the views, make it look different, go to a full screen, put that in there, so you can see that one person can do all of this, but you wouldn't do it by yourself. You just wouldn't. So nowadays, a piece of kit that costs a few £100. It does what it used to require like a massive full production team. That's changed because it's like they kind of call it prosumer. And so because the barrier to like professional quality broadcast dropped to basically a single person can do it. A properly lit studio, decent camera, a switcher, and a Restream account. Restream is it can run basically live shows. That it's that product that distributes. You broadcast to Restream and it simultaneously broadcasts out on your behalf to all the different platforms. So it looks really professional and basically competes with anything, with anybody. It's not about the money. And what you need to get started is it's simpler than you think. I'm in a room, decent camera, mic and lights, and a subject that you know better than anyone else, and just the discipline to show up every day, every day, every week. From there, the infrastructure grows. You add the switching, the multi-platform, the distribution. You build out the clip workflow, social library, capture the data, email sequence, build that corpus, that body of work, and you start connecting those data sources and the AI content layer. But none of it happens on day one. It doesn't happen on day one. You just show up, talk to your total addressable market about the problem that you solve, and do it again the following week. That's it. Everything else is incremental. Everything else follows. And here's the thing most people miss. It's the compounding effect of all this. It's not just visible one day or 1 week or even 1 month. It becomes visible month 3, 4, 5. The clips have been circulating. The algorithm has started to reward your consistency. And the email list grows. If you want to go down that path, the email you can say subscribe to us. Come on, we'll just notify you when we update new content, but we will never contact you direct. That's got to be sacrosanct. And you've got campaigns where you've got hundreds of clicks, hundreds of opens and click-throughs from people that have been watching you for months and understand what you do. And that's when the model starts to demonstrate, it's real commercial power. So kind of to bring this together, salesXchange Live, it's not a content marketing strategy. It's not a lead gen tactic. It's not brand awareness. It's a broadcast-driven commercial infrastructure that replaces this fragmented, interruption-based go-to-market model that's failing most businesses right now. It builds trust at scale. It reaches your total addressable market without outbound spend. And it generates the content that feeds that social layer, the email layer, the AI content layer, all connected to a single telemetry infrastructure where everything is visible, everything's measurable, and everything is queryable. And the script you've seen me deliver today was written by an AI system operating on 1.53 million words of indexed IP. It's not because AI is clever in some abstract sense, but because the IP was built, indexed and connected. And the system has the full context it needs to produce output at this level and quality and precision. And that's a massive difference between using AI as a chat tool and deploying AI as a component of a commercial operating system. So the hidden cost of fragmented go-to-market is not just the monthly SaaS bills. It's the context that gets lost between the tools, the institutional knowledge that never gets captured. The IP that lives in someone's head and walks out the door when they leave. Go back to here. The founder's knowledge that just gets lost because it's passed to someone else, to another pair of hands. When your IP is indexed and your data is connected, none of that's lost. It compounds. Every week you show up and broadcast, you add to the corpus. Every article you publish, every lesson you record, every email you write goes into the system, gets indexed, becomes part of the operational intelligence of the business. So you're not just creating content, you're building a compounding commercial asset. And that is what a business operating system actually looks like. Not a dashboard, not a CRM, a queryable, compounding, AI augmented infrastructure that runs on the commercial function of the business with precision of data and the authority of the founder's own IP. Your intellectual property, nobody else's. So if you want to understand and see how this all fits together in full, I mean, you can only say so much doing this, and I could be here for hours and hours. But like I said, I've got 1.53 million words because I'm shy and retiring and don't like to talk now. But if you go to salesXchange, go to our website, download the GTM Reset, Landscape, or the Go-to-Market Audit PDFs. And those documents map the architecture end to end. Or reach out to me. Just get in touch with me direct. That's Nigel at salesexchange.co.uk. And I'm very happy, very, very happy to have a specific conversation about what this could look like in your business. And I think at that point, I think that's it for today. I will be back same time next week. And that will be show 12 next week. And we've got quite a lot of things that we've got planned. One of them being we're building out a new website, which I believe is going to be very exciting. People go, what are you talking about? So Claude is going to take that body of work that we've got and build out a new website using Framer MCP. Build it from scratch. I'm just going to tell it what to do, and it's going to build it. We're also having our content evaluated as well. So there's lots and lots of different things going on. But that's the end. That's the end of this show. And the significance is, as I said, just to put a point on this, the teleprompter stopped moving up and down. It's finished. This is free form. And what I'm saying is, everything that I said up to that point, that's it for today. That was all written by Claude, start to finish, word for word. That to me, I'm blown away, absolutely blown away, because it is what I would have written. I wish I had. But that's it. I hope you got something out of this. I hope it's just working towards that understanding. And what I would say, in closing, because Claude didn't put it in there, is that we have a course. And the reason we built the course was because there is a problem. And recommending any company just to invest in an operating system, that's not good enough. Even I wouldn't do it. Unless I knew and understood the problem in its entirety and what the solution was. And the solution is to understand where it's gone wrong with B2B marketing, the impact that the MarTech industry has had on that, and that your actual current marketing infrastructure is the key thing that's damaging your business. How strange to think that. But when you've got the receipts, then you'll know. So the first thing to do is the course. One or two people, preferably two people, do the course. Do that first. Then you understand what could be done manually to rectify the problem. And that's when all the light bulbs go on and you understand the reason that the salesXchange operating system exists, that it does all of that, and pretty much one person can run it. But that's a conversation for another time. So that's it from me. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
You have been listening to the GTM Reset podcast, the audio edition of the salesXchange live show. If this episode reflects what you are seeing in your own business, the next step is to explore the model properly. Use the links in the description to watch the full video version, work through the foundational documents, and request a private strategy call if you want to see how this would apply inside your organization. Thanks for listening.